You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips Podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. Today, Jason Bay from Blissful Prospecting is back with his weekly idea to help us improve our prospecting efforts. Here he is.
We get asked a lot of questions, about cold email, and specifically, people want us to troubleshoot their cold emails. So what I wanted to do is walk you through a framework that we look at to determine what this person that's sending out the emails needs help with. So there's three areas that we look at. One is open rate, two is reply rate, and three is conversion rate. So what I'm going to start with first is open rates. So there's some, controversy around hey, should you actually measure the open rate or not? Because if you are using open rate tracking, it could decrease your open rate and that sort of thing. And there's some controversy around how accurate it is. The bottom line is when you're first starting a campaign and you're reaching out to a specific persona or ICP, you definitely want to measure the open rate. Because if your open rate is not between 30 and 50%, if it's lower, that's a huge red flag. You're getting less at-bats. And ideally, you really want to be 50+%. I would A/B test until you get 60 to 70% on your open rate. So if you're not in that range of 30 to 50%, here's where you can start. One, the most obvious one is the subject line. And in terms of subject lines, there's a couple quick tips here. You want to keep it between 4 to 6 words, ideally. You want to use the person's first name if you can in the subject line. So that might be hey, Jason, was researching your company and we use that one a lot. Really like that one. You might also put the company name in there. So if you could put some personalization in there, that's a really good thing to A/B test. And another thing that we've been doing after looking at a sales loft study is one-word subject lines. So if you could categorize and explain sort of what you do in one word, that's a really great thing to do too. So when we email people, we might use prospecting, or we might say outbound, or we might just do sales pipeline. So those sort of stick out because people don't tend to use one-word subject lines. So, and I think sales pipeline is actually 2 words. So 1 or 2 word subject lines. The other most overlooked part of this is the intro line. So just remember, when people are looking at emails on phone or on desktop, it does preview the first couple sentences of the email for them. So if you can personalize those first couple sentences, that's a really, really good way to make sure that they actually look at the email and they open it. So make sure it doesn't look like a marketing email. Say something like, hey, maybe you're researching something on their website, or you saw something on LinkedIn, or whatever it might be. Make sure to personalize it. So if your emails are getting opened and for whatever reason you either are not getting replies or you're not converting into appointments, there's a couple of things that you can look at. So the reply rate, really you want to be between 5 and 10%. Ideally, again, you're 10% plus. But if for whatever reason people are opening but not replying, it usually falls into one of 3 categories. And this is based on the reply method that we came up with, which is linked in the show notes for you to check out if you want to listen to the full episode on that. But the R stands for results. So that's the first thing I look at is, are you focusing on sharing results that you create for companies like theirs? So are you sharing social proof? Are you telling them about the companies you work with that are very similar to them, that are experiencing similar challenges? Are you utilizing case studies? And again, the case studies have to be relevant, have to be for a very similar type of company. When you do this, you show specialization. So you don't want to be this generic company that works with industry agnostic is what I hear a lot of salespeople say that their solution is, but that's not the thing that the prospect wants to hear. They want to hear that you specialize. The other part that you can look at too is the empathy piece. And this is where you want to talk about the challenges. So a lot of outreach I see missing any sort of challenge that the prospect might be experiencing. So if you're helping people build their sales pipeline, lack of sales pipeline is a challenge, right? Low response rates to their cold emails is a challenge. So call out a challenge that they're having. And then lastly, what you want to look at is the L in reply is for laser focus. So do you have a clear call to action? So you might need to actually look at what the call to action is. And first off, do you have one, right? And second off, is it in the form of a question? And third, mess around with how specific it is. So do everything from, does this sound interesting? Or, hey, do you want to chat further about this? To, hey, are you available this upcoming Thursday after 2 p.m. Pacific time to chat about this for 30 minutes? That's how specific you can be. So just kind of mess around with those. Ideally, the email is between 3 to 5 sentences, 120 words or less. So that's what I'm looking at if the reply rates are low. If the conversion rate's low, it's oftentimes very, very similar. It's a call to action, being off and needing to be tested. And the other thing that you can do too is call the prospect. So let's say people are responding and you're not converting them to appointments because people are saying not interested or they want more information or whatever it is. If you can be around when people respond to that and call them immediately, you actually might get some really good feedback that you could build into the emails. So when you're troubleshooting, again, look at open rate, make sure it's between 30 and 50%. Next, check your reply rate. It needs to be at least 5 to 10%. And your conversion rate into appointments needs to be at least 3 to 6% of the total emails that you're sending. So hopefully that helps you out.
As Jason mentioned, you'll find links to more resources, including the tip on his reply method in the show notes at dailysales.tips/227. Jason's own emails are also really good, so do yourself a favor and join his mailing list as well. Then come on by tomorrow for another great sales tip from David Weiss. Thanks for listening.